Well, we're going to look at images now, which came about while Carol and I were on holiday in Fuerteventura, and we were lucky enough to have one of the apartments which was directly opposite the island of Lobos, which this represents. And in a sense, the island of Lobos becomes a very inspiring motive for me. And these represent something of that inspiring situation where on the publicity you see a photograph of me which Carol took when I'm sitting in my bunker, and I'm sheltered from the wind to some extent, and I would go there in round about 4, 5, and sit there until the sun had completely set, and the sunset was actually behind me, so they don't directly show at the sunset, but they are what happened while I'm sitting there to the appearance of the island, and it's a wonderful experience to be just there on my own. You be there on your own and paint from what you see, and the inspiration is being so intimate with nature and watching as the colours change and the light change, and how that is so pleasing. So this is quite a good one. Sadly, it underwent an accident yesterday when someone was when the frame got broken, but it still fortunately fits where it is. So these are the themes, and I reflect on some year or so ago, having an invitation that Karen and I had to go to Aix-en-Provence, and one of the great masters of European painting, Paul Cézanne, used to live and paint from his subject, which is Mont Sainte-Victoire, even more so impressive. But these are, there I am in the moment, everything's on the move, changing about me, and I'm seeing, such wonderful things, and hinting them, what I'm seeing, put them, orchestrating them into an image. And whatever, I do love them. I love the quality of paint as well, which is worth looking at and inspecting closely, as well as what that paint comes when you step back from it to represent. So these are some of those images. The first time I've actually shown them, or gone to the process of framing them to show them. It might be self-indulgent, but this is a watercolour which I particularly enjoy and love. And if I explain to you some of the reasons why, it is a watercolour which is, like all water, very fluid, and it's desirable to be in control and know when you're putting a mark on there, it'll stay where you put it. And to explain what it is and how it becomes, in this sense, a composition. I like the word composition. I think it's a very profound word, actually, to compose. And when you think about composition with symphonies and music and such, or poetry, great literature, composition, composing it, I think it's a lovely word. I love it. And this watercolour pleases me. I can't believe it came about. It's really quite lovely. Let me explain. This line here, across here, changes a bit there, but that's the highway, in fact, near in Fuerteventura, from Coroleco and places south. And if you could see it as I see it, and when I look at it, I'm almost there making it again. It's such a pleasurable. And sometimes, say you put the colour on it, it runs a bit. Maybe it shouldn't or shouldn't. I can't remember there now. But this is forestry or woodland of a sort, and this is likewise, and that's this the edge of a road that runs from Coraleco down to the end of the island. And here you can see, there and then, that defines the shapes of the silhouette of the mountains against the sky. And whatever else, I get pleasure looking at it, and amazing, wondering how incredible it is. Little accidents happen and make it all rather lovely. The one above, you see, is, again, it's so minimal, it's almost abstract, and yet it's inspired by what I saw there across the mountains and the line of the desert. Above is some soft clouds and a little bluer sky, and it's almost abstract. These blobs are just the flora and fauna that inspire that pattern, and as it goes, and it carries little rhythms, and so as you put it out, it creates those rhythms. For me, it's very pleasing and brings back the sense of being there in front of this wonderful, inspiring landscape. Well, I'd like to share with you what are, for me, some of the images that I made from this motif of Lobos, the island of Lobos, and the nature of the images and how they come about is relevant and important, because they're with this ephemeral medium of watercolour, and it has a will of its own as well. And really, when you're making the image, it requires you to anticipate what's going to happen when you put the paint on. But it's still a very simple image of the island of Lobos. Yes, in the nature of watercolour, we have to be very wary to anticipate what's going to happen, that we don't fall into a trap, a disaster, and it's a very delicate process. So in this particular image, there's this soft transition from blue sky to the atmospheric change in light and colour, which silhouettes the island of Lobos. And probably here, I think there's a probable bit of a blurb there where a spot went on in the wrong place, and it's just floating there. But the quality of colour and the medium I enjoy, and I hope anyone that likes watercolour will appreciate it. I've also had them framed in this particular way, where it's like it's not been formally framed. It's just like looking at the image when I've made it. It's just a sheet of paper. How is it possible? And just a sheet of paper and a few lines of colour, and evoke an image. Yes, the probability, the abstraction of the lights and colours, and this one is probably a trifle more naturalistic, because those do probably look like clouds, and at the top it's more or less a clear sky. And the marks, these just suggests the movement of the tide coming in. And that one, I think that one works probably well, whereas a little bit of a blob there. And this is like the rocky edge where I'm sitting on the opposite side of the island of Lobos. But yeah, I do love the quality of watercolour and what happens when you get it nearly right, at least. One of the benefits of having long holidays in the summer when you're an art teacher, and this is actually a print of the painting, but it's very painterly in that sense that I sense that every mark that I made in it is a response to something I'm seeing, and the various changes in colours and tones and textures are a response to the quality of the terrain there, the ploughed field and the hills behind, and here wisps of smoke, you know, from some probably bonfires and people burning garden waste, and the sun, quite different from in some of the other pictures we've been looking at, is very present, and the blue of the sky. Obviously, it's a lovely. It presents to me the memory of that wonderful. It was an afternoon. I did, I think, at least 3 paintings that day, as the day progressed, and this is the last one. So it means it must have been done quite in quite a short space of time directly, because you know how long it takes the sun to set, and that's what came about.